For more update, please subscribe our Gossip America News YouTube channel and press the bell button. The California sun was just beginning to dip below the hills, casting golden light across the sprawling stables of Hidden Rock Ranch. The smell of leather, hay, and horse sweat clung to the air, but so too did something heavier memories. For Teddi Mellencamp, this place wasn't just a ranch. It was where everything had begun, and where everything had fallen apart. "I've lived my life preaching accountability," Teddi says, her voice steady, though her eyes betray the years of turmoil behind the smile. But what do you do when the one thing you never thought you'd do becomes the only thing you can't undo? Back in 2021, Teddi was juggling multiple realities: her podcast, her wellness brand, her marriage to Edwin Airwave, her children, and her cancer diagnosis looming in the background, like a shadow she refused to acknowledge. But there was also a quieter, hidden part of her world: horses. It started innocently, she recalls. "I wanted something peaceful. Just me, the outdoors, something physical that wasn't about body image or competition." She began spending time at Hidden Rock Ranch in Thousand Oaks, an elite equestrian center where her daughter, Slate, had begun riding lessons. That's where she met Nate Rivas, a 34-year-old professional horse trainer with sun-washed hair, hands as calloused as old tree bark, and a quiet charm that unnerved her from the start. He was good with the horses, she says, her voice growing soft. But he was even better at making you feel like the world could wait. At first, it was small things: him helping her saddle a restless mare, brushing fingers as he guided her hand, stolen glances. She describes it like a slow burn movie, the kind where you know the ending is going to hurt, but you keep watching anyway. "I was married. He was engaged, but there was this emotional vacuum. I wasn't cheating because I didn't love Edwin. I was cheating because I had forgotten what it felt like to be seen." By mid-2022, what had started as companionship spiraled into something darker. "I wish I could say I stopped before the line was crossed," she says. "But I didn't. We fell into it like two people who had no idea the cost." The affair lasted 6 months. It wasn't just physical, it was emotional, deep, almost poetic. Shared playlists, handwritten notes left in saddlebags, early morning trail rides where the sun hadn't risen and neither had their guilt. But reality has a way of catching up. And in January 2023, it did with a vengeance. "I always knew it couldn't last," Teddi admits. "But I didn't expect the fallout to come from within me." In February 2023, she was diagnosed with stage 2 melanoma after a routine skin check. The irony was brutal. "All I could think was, this is it. This is what I get." The news hit her like a freight train. Her husband was supportive, of course. He held her hand during chemo consultations. He cried in silence in the shower. But Teddi knew that behind the compassion was a growing storm of suspicion. "I confessed," she says, flatly, "not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't look him in the eye without feeling like I was already dead." Edwin, blindsided and devastated, moved out within a week. The couple entered a separation period that hasn't yet led to divorce, but the tension remains. "We're co-parenting like adults," she says, "but the trust is gone. And once that's gone, you're not really married anymore." As for Nate, the man who had awakened something in her, he vanished. "When I told him about the cancer, he ghosted me. No calls. No messages. Just gone," she says, voice cracking for the first time. Whether it was fear, guilt, or cowardice, she says she's stopped trying to understand it. "Maybe he thought I was toxic. Or maybe I was just a fantasy he couldn't carry into the real world. Either way, it hurt more than I admitted at the time." Teddi says she believes in karma now, in a way she never did before. "I think the universe has a way of putting you in check. For me, cancer was that check." She doesn't say this with self-pity. In fact, her tone is almost defiant. She talks about her diagnosis, not as a death sentence, but as a message. "I lived my whole life telling people to be honest with themselves, with their health, with their choices. And there I was lying to everyone." She pauses, looks down at her hands. "I had to earn my own forgiveness." When rumors of the affair first broke earlier this year, social media went into a frenzy. Comments ranged from hypocrite to homewrecker, with fans and critics alike questioning her credibility as a wellness coach and public figure. Her podcast, 2 Teas in a Pod, temporarily lost sponsors. She was dropped from 2 major brand partnerships. People who once called her inspirational now labeled her a fraud. "I deserved some of it," she shrugs. "But the internet. It's not about truth. It's about blood. She recounts one particularly brutal message. "You got cancer because you're rotten from the inside out." "I kept that one," she says. "I read it on the days I feel too sorry for myself. Because that kind of cruelty reminds me that I still have work to do." Teddi has since returned to chemotherapy after a recurrence in May. Her hair is shorter now. Her skin paler, but there's a clarity in her eyes that wasn't there before. "I'm not going to be the victim in my story," she says. "I'm not going to be the villain, either. I'm just someone who made a choice, and now I'm living with it." She's started volunteering at a local cancer support group. She's also launched a spin-off podcast series called The Other Side of Accountability, where she speaks openly about shame, infidelity, trauma, and the uncomfortable layers of healing. "I'm not interested in redemption arcs. I'm interested in honesty," she says. "If I can't be real now, then what was the point of surviving?" Her children know pieces of the story. "Kids are smarter than we give them credit for," she says. "They know mommy messed up, but they also know mommy is trying." As for Edwin, the door remains cracked open. "We've been through so much together. I can't say what the future holds. Maybe we find our way back. Or maybe we learn to love each other from separate places." Either way, Teddi says she will never again take her marriage or her life for granted. On the day of our interview, Teddi returns to Hidden Rock Ranch for the first time in over a year. The horses remember her, especially Luna, the mare she used to ride every Friday morning. "She was my escape," Teddi says, stroking the horse's mane. "But I confused escape with love." It's a bittersweet reunion, tinged with the weight of memory. But it's also a kind of homecoming, a way of facing her ghosts without letting them drive the reins. Before she leaves, she mounts Luna for a short, slow ride down the pasture. Her back is straight, her eyes forward. She doesn't look back once. "Cancer is my payback," she says again, the line hanging heavy in the air. "But it's also my second chance." Teddi Mellencamp is still fighting for her health, for her family, for her identity. But maybe, just maybe, the woman who once lost herself in someone else's saddle is finally learning how to ride her own path again. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe to our Gossip America News YouTube channel for more updated news.